This episode of Horror Movie Talk is brought to you by S-Mart. Shop smart, shop S-Mart. And now a word from Horror Movie Talk. Tired of political unrest? Worried about the state of the world? Have the Rona and just need a little pick-me-up before they put you down? Here at Horror Movie Talk, we hear you. The last time we raged against the machine, David shit his pants and Bryce was found in Belize with his kidney removed. For this reason, we will do our best to make HMT a safe space for you. All horror movie talk, all the time. No political opinions, no real-world scenarios. Only the soothing sounds of chainsaw-wielding killers running you down, total body eviscerations, and godless demon sex. Horror Movie Talk. We promise that you won't learn anything but horror movies.
Hello and welcome to Horror Movie Talk.
An opinionated and accidentally funny horror movie review show. Go, 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 go.
Just took a stroll through the scraggly woods. He had no face! Horror!
Sabrina, don't just stare at it, eat it.
New theatrical releases always get priority.
But we also review older horror movies, both good and horrible.
Wow, that didn't sound good.
Welcome to Horror Movie Talk, the show so bad it's good. Hang on. I'm your host, David Day, and over there is
Bryce Hanson.
your other host. And you guys should check out our website at horrormovietalk.com. From there, you can find links to all of our social media. We got Facebook, we got Twitter, we got LinkedIn, we got YouTube, we got Reddit. We got it all, baby. So make sure to check it all out. We post new episodes every single Wednesday. So make sure to subscribe and leave a rating for us on Apple Podcasts, because that we have some goals, people. In fact, I'm going to state at the top of this episode, I'm going to state more than the goal that we've been stating. We've been stating that we have a goal of 200 Apple Podcast ratings. That will help us in a big way. That way we can get onto Rotten Tomatoes eventually, hopefully, crossing our fingers. But also, I would like to propose another goal, 1,000 followers on Facebook. I know there's a lot of you out there who have not liked us on Facebook, but it makes us more, it makes us better when we can reach out to you and share episodes, let you know, stuff that's going on. And it's one of our main lines of communication. Twitter is also great. It's a little harder for me because I don't do the Twitter. Bryce does the Twitter. I do most of the Facebook. I don't know. It's kind of split. Anyway, that's another goal. If you haven't liked our Facebook, please do so. We sure do appreciate it. Today is going to be a fantabulous show because, it's a mixed bag, this Rona thing. On the one hand, society seems to be breaking down to a certain extent. On the other hand,
we weren't getting political, David.
On the other hand, we just get to review bangers, banger after banger after banger, because there's nothing new coming out to shit it all up.
Yeah.
So today we're going to be reviewing Evil Dead 2, Dead by Dawn. This is the movie that may be responsible for my love of horror movies. Maybe. I remember watching this as a young middle schooler or something like that, and just being, wow.
This is the first time that I've watched it.
What? Are you kidding?
No.
Wow.
I think I've seen Evil Dead a couple times.
Sure. Yeah.
And it was okay. I didn't understand the love for it. I think I've seen clips from Army of Darkness too. But I get why it's such a phenomenon with Evil Dead 2.
Evil Dead 2 it's the sweet spot.
Yeah.
It's really, it made a genre. kind of. This weird comedy horror genre.
Yeah.
So, today, we'll be talking about Evil Dead 2. Hooray!
Yay!
And we'll start out by giving a brief review and our score for the movie. We score on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being bad, 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 not good, 5 being totally average, a film that hits all the expected marks, and 10 being so good that it transcends genre boundaries and is just a fantastic movie. After we give our score, we'll get into spoilers and take a deeper dive into what we liked and hated about the film. Later in this episode, we'll be doing It Came From Social Media. So that's where we talk about things that you people did to us over social media. And remember to like us on Facebook and Twitter. So as I said, we watched Evil Dead 2. I watched it on Amazon. Is that where you caught it?
Yep. Rented it.
Yeah, and if you'd like to rent it, you can head on over to horrormovietalk.com and you can click through the link on our web in the post for this episode, or you can just click through the link at the top of the page. It says buy stuff on Amazon, and then you buy stuff on Amazon or you rent it, and then we get a little bit of that money, a little bit of that. This movie has been a favorite of mine since I was a little kid. The combination of stop motion, practical effects, and Bruce Campbell's amazing physical acting makes for one of the best comedy horrors ever made. So without further ado, let's get into the trailer.
"4 years ago, in this quiet forest, in this cozy cabin, something happened. Something so frightening. Something so deadly. Something so evil. We prayed it would never happen again. Now, from the creator of Evil Dead, comes Evil Dead 2. Dead 2, Dead by Dawn.
Dang. Like, oh man, so much good. It's kind of weird how they, in this trailer, they treat it as like the sequel. It's weird that they named it a sequel.
I know. It's so weird.
Because it's kind of a paint by colors of the first one.
Yeah,
Paint by numbers.
It's not the same as the first one, but it's basically the same idea.
Yeah, it's a it's like templated off of the exact. It's all the same elements are there.
Instead of in the first one, they all 4 come together, right?
Yeah.
So it's like a group of 4, like generic cabin in the woods plot.
Yeah. The bridge leaving, same thing happens. Like in this one, they throw back to the tree scene. Mm-hmm. You know.
Yeah, and they've got the person in the basement.
Yeah.
It's not as big of a deal as in the first one.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean that's what I've heard, is that basically Evil Dead 2 is a remake of the first one at a higher budget.
Right.
But it's different enough.
I mean, it stars the same guy.
I know.
And he goes to the same place, like you were saying. It's like,
so in the synopsis on Amazon, it's like Ash goes back to the cabin. And it's like, but there's no illusion that he has ever been there before. And obviously he forgot, like, oh, don't play this tape recorder.
Oh, they rebuilt the bridge. Oh, great. We don't have to walk. They rebuilt it. Oh, shit, the bridge is out again. Evil Dead 2 is the story of Ash and his girlfriend Annie, who drive deep into the woods to have a nice time breaking and entering into a cabin that isn't theirs. Following their felony, Ash stumbles upon the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, a.k.a. the Book of the Dead. The book served as a passageway to evil worlds beyond, written long ago when the seas ran red with blood. This is the fucking metalist shit. Oh my god, this blood was used to ink the book. In the year 1300 AD, the book disappeared, but it has resurfaced at this cabin in Michigan, I assume. Ash plays a tape recorder with the translation of the pages from the book, and that's enough to unleash more evil than they bargained for.
Jesus.
Oh.
We're having
Sabrina,
fun here.
don't just stare at it. Eat it.
What?
We're having fun here over at Horror Movie Talk.
Having fun. My review of Evil Dead 2 from 1987 is, this is like we were just saying, this is kind of a remake of the first movie that started it all.
But never mentions or assumes that this first ever happened.
Yeah, it's a very strange idea.
It's like a... It's like literally a reboot.
Yeah, it's a reboot, reimagining.
You can't even say it's a soft reboot because it uses the exact same character
Same guy.
without saying that he's ever been there before.
Yeah, and the same things happen all over again.
Yeah.
As though this has happened before. And it's by Sam Raimi. I was talking to Bryce while the trailer was playing. I was saying, this is, when I hear the name Sam Raimi, I just go, Evil Dead 2. Uh-huh. I go Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2.
Right.
And then, to a lesser extent, Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just, he did so much to pioneer so many brilliant fucking things in these movies. Oh man, it just kills me.
Yeah.
This is not a step-by-step remake, and it differs in a lot of ways, but the premise is very similar. People go to a cabin in the woods, find the Book of the Dead, and are attacked by a long-dead evil. Where the first movie is deadly serious and quite disturbing, Evil Dead 2 takes a much more comedy-based approach while maintaining an incredible array of shocking visuals. The effects in this are so over the top that it's pushed into goofy, nervous laughter territory.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even think... Yeah, I think saying it's a comedy horror, I don't even know if that's right, but it's like a slapstick horror.
Yeah, it's vaudevillian. Yeah.
I wrote down while I was watching it, it reminded me of the vibe of silent movies.
Yeah, he's pratfalling all over the place.
Pratfalling, like just the over-emoting expressions... And just the, over-the-top acting, and not a lot of dialogue for, like, the first half of the movie.
For the first half. It's just him acting off himself with no one to go off of. And nothing to, like, it's like, wow. Every time I watch it, I'm more impressed than the time before. I'm like, God damn, it's just brilliant. Everything about it I love. Couple these super cool effects with Bruce Campbell's most incredible performance of all time. He carries this movie in a way that amazes me every time I watch it. For almost half this film, like we said, Campbell manages to act alone against nothing, with nothing to react to, and his energy is just off the charts. I don't know how, like, this is like Jim Carrey or beyond.
Oh, yeah.
No,
absolutely.
It's just incredible. And I don't know where he got it.
And he's not the only one. Like, the other actors are bringing it, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they are, especially, like, the hillbilly guy.
Yeah.
Like, he is way over the top, too.
He's great. And his girlfriend, I can't remember her name, is like Bambi or something like that. This time around, I noticed, I was like, I know that person. I was like, Carrie, who is that? And she's like, I don't know, nobody. And then I was like, oh, I looked up her IMDb. I was like, oh, she was in One Life to Live and General Hospital. My mom watched One Life to Live her whole life. And so every day I'd see this woman's face and be like, huh.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. And so I was like, oh, this bitch is the bitch that was on One Life to Live for like 25 years.
So be honest. Did you watch it ever with your mom?
I mean, because it wasn't, the channel was not allowed to be changed during that time. Yes.
Yeah.
But it was only, it was just osmosis kind of stuff.
Yeah, I see. There's a lot of shows that I've watched mostly because my mom watched them and I would
room.
watch them with her. Mm-hmm. But I'm unapologetic for liking them. Like
I didn't like it. There's nothing as lacking in substance as One Life to Live. Yeah. It was so...
Yeah, soap operas are pretty bad. But, I would watch Grey's Anatomy, and that's basically a soap opera.
Grey's Anatomy it started the formula, though, right? This new gen formula of, like, keep you on your toes, like, leave it hanging, and then, like... Finally, in my review, I really enjoy how much this movie manages tension with silence and stillness juxtaposed with loudness and chaos. It's a classic that's based on a classic, and Ash gets a sawed-off shotgun and chainsaw for a hand
spoilers
to make the most badass pairings of weapons since peanut butter and chainsaws for hands. I give this movie a high 10 out of 10. What do you think?
I really, really enjoyed it, and I see the place it has. Mm-hmm. And it's very much one man's vision realized and very consistent. That being said, it's not necessarily for me. But I give it 8 out of 10.
What makes it not for you? Can you pin that down a little better? Did you watch this last night?
Yeah.
Okay.
And this morning. I finished it this morning.
Oh, okay.
There's just not that much substance. It's just...
It's thing.
It's
after
very
thing.
It's
after
very
thing.
simple. It's very simple premise, and that doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. But it's not like, I've said before. I'm more of like character driven stuff, or like
this is a chain together series of events.
Yeah. Not to say that Ash isn't a character, but he's much more of like a superhero, a badass, person placed in circumstances.
Right, exactly. He's less a person and more of a caricature, like a superhero.
Yeah, I mean, he starts out with like kind of a regular semi-goofy guy in the beginning, and then turns into a superhero at the end. Mm-hmm. And there's not really, I don't know. It's a great movie. It's just not 10 out of 10 for me.
I gotcha. That's fair.
There needs to be a little more for me to say it's 10 out of 10.
I hear you. Yeah, I definitely do. And I think the fact that it's the first time you've seen it, I think, man, I don't know. Like I said, every time I see this, I'm just more amazed than I was last time. I just see things that are like, this was 1987?
Yeah. I mean, the other thing is that I'm probably not in the best headspace to like enjoy it right now. So that's the other thing.
We'll get into that in the afterpod, which brings us to our next point, which is Patreon. You guys, if we produce this show for free every week, and it takes a lot of our time and a lot of our love. I love doing it. I love talking to everybody, but it does, it would be nice if it started paying for itself. And it's doing so more and more every week, and that's because of kind people like you who decide to become a patron on Patreon. And our Patreon is patreon.com/horrormovietalk. And this week we have 4 new Patreon members to thank. I can't believe it.
I think it was just 3. I think we thanked. Anyways, we'll thank them all.
Yes, we have Chris, who is different from Chris P, but we also love Chris P.
Yeah,
Crispy. Yeah. But name spelled the same. Another Chris with a K, and then also Ross H, who's Kitty H's husband, and
they're great. They're my favorite couple.
They're my favorite couple for sure because Ross hates horror movies but loves his wife.
Yeah.
And he tolerates her love of horror movies and became a Patreon member.
And he's a big fan of the show because he gets to experience the movies without watching them.
Right. Or we get to like lead him into them.
Yeah.
This is what I keep saying to people who are like, I'm scared of horror movies. I'm like, then you would love the show. And they go, no, that couldn't be. And I was like, the show isn't terrifying. The movies are.
Right.
The show's fun.
Yeah. Anyways, have you social media stalked them at all on Facebook?
No, I'm not a creepy guy.
Yeah, I do. I click through to their profiles, and they're just an adorable couple. They've got their wedding photos on there.
Oh, on their Patreon?
On his Facebook.
Oh my God, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, they follow us, so
okay, fair enough.
I can stalk him. And he's got a leather vest that I'm jealous of in his wedding photos, and he's got like the Hand of the King pin.
What's that?
From Game of Thrones.
Oh, that's dorky. Ross, that's dorky. I'm sorry, buddy.
No, he's awesome.
Yeah, he is awesome. And then we also have Brandon S. and Brett K. I can't believe the outpouring of support we got this week. It's great.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys so much. And a big part of what's going on Patreon is we record a whole nother podcast called The Afterpod, where we talk about our lives and what's going on. Recently, both of us, we've succumbed a little bit to what's going on out there. We try and keep the show free from that. As I stated at the beginning of the show, Horror Movie Talk cares about you.
Yeah, we try to keep our misery quarantined into the Afterpod.
Right. Yes. So if misery is what you're looking for right now, the Afterpod wasn't always misery. Mm-hmm. It's just recently become misery because of the misery.
Right. So anyways, check out the Patreon. We got different perks, small and big, and for all levels. So just,
check it out. Do what you can for us. We appreciate it. And and just give what you can. And we're always happy to have new Patreon
But
members.
We're especially thankful that you're listening right now.
Yeah.
The other thing that we have to offer you is Shudder. You've heard of Shudder. I'm not going to talk about it, but if you want to try it out, use HMT at checkout for a 30-day free trial.
Try it out.
We've already talked about Amazon. We've got a link in the banner of our website to buy stuff on Amazon. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon while you're stuck at home, or if you're going to rent any of the movies that we're talking about, click through that button in the banner and we'll get a little taste. Special thank you to our resident artist, Dustin Goebel, who's a professional artist who fucks hard. He also takes commissions for artwork from HMT fans. He's at DGOEBEL00 on Instagram, dgoebel00. And this week is very important.
It's a big week. It's a big week.
Because Dustin has been hard at work helping us.
I'm so excited.
Rebrand, well, not rebrand, but to create a new logo and a new look for Horror Movie Talk. And we are pumped. It's going to be unveiled on the wide release of this episode. Hopefully I can get everything up in time. But you'll see just such a kick-ass logo that Dustin made for us, and we're very, very appreciative.
Your compliment was sufficient, Lewis.
Okay, Bryce, calm down.
All right.
No, and then also, finally, you can, if you like that song at the beginning of our show, check out Max_Allen.
I think it's actually Max.D.Allen now on Instagram.
Well, he can't change it on us. Well. It's Max Allen 1235 in some iteration of that. You check him out on Instagram, and he's, if you're a podcaster and you're listening to this kid can handle your intro or outro music or any kind of any of your drop needs. He can do it. So check him out.
Try him out.
And with that, thanks again for listening. So let's get into spoilers. Spoilers. Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
Spoilers. If you're late to the, it's only been 33 years since this movie came out, so I don't know, maybe.
Yeah, get your shit together.
What
kind of moron would wait this long to see Evil Dead 2?
I can't believe that Bryce prefers Van Patten's card to mine.
I can't believe Bryce hasn't seen this movie.
You know what you should do? You should cut that to stop right at Bryce.
I can't believe Bryce.
And then you'd finish the sentence.
Oh, that's good.
I can't believe
Hang on, let me
Bryce.
try.
I can't believe that Bryce...
Oh, almost. I'll give it one more shot. That Bryce. He goes,
I can't believe that Bryce
hasn't seen this movie yet.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
incredible. So, so we start this movie, and it's like,
How many movies have used the Necronomicon? Is my first question.
I mean, at least 3.
And is this the first one?
That's a really good question. It seems like something we should know.
Because
talking
Necronomicon
about
is
them.
definitely from Lovecraft, right? Like, is that his invention?
I guess. Yeah, I probably.
Because he has a book called Necronomicon, I think.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, it's a great device. It's like a book that you shouldn't read.
Right.
And everyone reads it.
Everybody fucking reads this
Fucking
thing.
morons.
Inked in. Oh, what? It seems to be written in red.
Yeah.
Huh. Wonder what that could be. And it's
Dark red, and has horrible images of
dead things come to
corpses.
life.
Yeah, and
Let's read it. It's bound in human skin. Did I mention that? It's got a face on it.
all right.
Yeah. Let's read it. Mm-hmm. That's just anybody would be like, oh, this is how horror movies start.
Yeah.
And they'd be
I
right.
mean, even just seeing the book cover, you get it. You don't need any explanation. But in this movie, they do give a backstory for the Necronomicon about what it is, which is nice.
Yeah, so as I read in the synopsis, the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, a.k.a. the Book of the Dead, served as a passageway to the evil worlds beyond, written long ago when the seas ran red with blood, and this blood was used to ink the book. In the year 1300 AD, the book just kind of disappeared. And there's kind of like this stop motion intro with a bunch of cool animation effects of like demons and like flying demons and shit coming at you.
They do, what is it? The Steadicam. I can't remember what they call it, but the technique that they used is that they would screw the camera onto like a 2x4.
Oh,
and they'd have 2 people on either side, and they just run
things.
And I think they would. It's probably in slow motion or whatever, or sped up in post. But yeah, they'd basically carry this 2x4 and run it through.
Yeah.
It was a really low tech solution to make like a really cool effect.
Yeah, and this movie is chock full of that kind of stuff. Like these long camera shots that are sped up and on rails seemingly.
I'm sure that IMDb actually says, I didn't read everything, but the effect of the shutter speed or something that makes it really feel frenetic. Like, I don't know if
what does frenetic mean?
Just like
busy
or speedy. You know?
Yes.
But yeah, you get this real intensity,
energy in the shot,
just from like, it feels like it's slightly sped up. But it's
like the leaves are moving too fast.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Or it feels like even the live action stuff is kind of feels stop motion.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, there's lots of techniques that really like amp up the energy throughout the entire movie.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely a playground for just cool effects and ideas that and every single one of them is pulled off so intensely. And when you start getting into the puppetry and it starts getting kind of corny, it just goes so full throttle into it. This is what Sam Raimi does great with practical effects. Is it looks campy originally, but it's so full throttle that it just works because it's just that high energy stuff.
Right.
You know? And
the thing about it is like the overarching feel of this is fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's very fun to watch.
Fun violence.
I'll tell you what, you'll love this. Aaron, you can tell how much we'll talk about it in the afterpod. How much support Aaron wants to give me because she asked if I wanted her to watch the movie with me, if I needed companionship while I watched it.
Aww.
And I was like, oh, yeah, sure, why not? She sat and watched it, and we've had Erin on the podcast before, and she is not a horror fan. She does not like being scared. She had a blast watching this movie.
Yeah.
Like, she was laughing. Like,
She's just like Ross.
it was a fun experience.
Yeah.
For her. So, I mean, definitely if you're afraid of horror movies or you know people that are scared, this is like a good gateway because it's really fun. It's over the top. It's not particularly scary.
You can't take
it's
it
just
too
kind of,
seriously.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
Yeah, it's insanity.
But it has all the gore and like special effects that make the genre fun.
Yeah, and some good scares, you know, some good easy scares.
Yeah, like jump
scares.
But they're also funny.
They're also funny
because they're so unexpected.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. So we get Bruce Campbell, and his girlfriend Annie, Ash and Annie headed up into the mountains to a deserted cabin, and she's like, I don't know if we should go, but he's like, let's go. It'll be a blast. Last time I was here, I had a great time. And like I said earlier, his acting is like just he's vaudevillian. I don't know how he got this way because it's 1987 and he's like,
it feels like
in his 20s.
You know what it is? It's like stage acting.
Yeah.
In close-ups. It's very like broad. Like the entire movie is very broad and very large in the moves that it makes.
Yeah.
And his expressions are very big.
Yeah, he's like Jim Carrey. He's like the horror version of Jim Carrey.
Yeah. I turned to Aaron and I was like, you know what they should have done like 10 years ago. I mean, I guess this did happen 10 years ago. Make a remake of Evil Dead 2.
And that exactly happened.
Oh,
wait, no, that was a remake of the original Evil Dead, not the Evil Dead 2.
Do Evil Dead 2 and cast Dwayne Johnson as Ash.
Oh, and just have him do his wrestling.
Yeah, just totally expressive. Like the eyes are very
super
familiar.
Oh my God, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That would be perfect.
Yeah, I'd love to see The Rock be Ash in a film.
I would love to see that.
And I'm not even a fan of Dwayne Johnson. I'm like
I mean, I don't care. He's a fine actor, and it seems like a very salt of the earth person. But yeah, I don't have any strong. But he would be dead on for this. Yeah. So, they find a tape recorder in the cabin. They listen to it. It's an archaeologist. He has found the Book of the Dead, and now he's translating it in this recording. And as Ash is listening to this recording, we get now the evil awakes, and the camera starts moving through the woods. It's like this train effect.
Yeah, the sound is so great in this movie too because it's also over the top.
Yeah, it's like a train.
It communicates so much.
Yeah,
like this is intense growling, and it's getting more intense.
Yeah, it's like Goku in Dragon Ball Z.
It's like and it cuts back and forth between it, and it's so sudden. What's the one where the hillbilly is yelling something, and it cuts mid word to like that shot of like the Evil Dead, running up to him, and then it cuts back and he finishes the word, and it goes back. It's like just very. It's. You see the cuts. Like there's not any subtlety at all. Like you are taken out of the suspension of disbelief and you know that you're watching something artificial in front of you because of it. But it's effective and really fun.
It's effective and you've never seen it used before or since.
Right.
Like, it's one of these things that's totally a Sam Raimi move that no one else attempts. I'm not exactly sure why. Maybe just because it just fits in this very specific movie.
Or you'll see it, but it'll be in short spurts. It'll be like an effect on a scene or a moment and not like an entire movie based on it.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and so this evil is coming through the woods at him. It blows down the door. It goes through another door. It immediately kills Annie and takes her off into the woods.
You know what I was actually just reminded of? Like the effect that's very similar. Like Monty Python has done something similar before. So you remember in Holy Grail
where they're running at the camera?
Yeah, when there's the scene with like the two guards in front of the castle.
And they're watching the guy approach.
And they're seeing the guy run from afar off.
Eating an apple.
Linda?
Yeah.
And it like cuts back to him. And the guy is always like
always far in the
500 yards
Yeah.
away
Yeah.
every time they cut to him. And the guards are just kind of watching him off in the distance. In the camera, you never see him closer than like 100 yards. And then it cuts back to the guards, and all of a sudden they get stabbed.
Oh! Yeah, they're like eating an apple. Like, huh, is there a guy out there? And then, he's killed him. Yeah, that's right. It is kind of, it's very Monty Python.
There's a couple moments in this movie kind of like that.
Yeah, so it breaks through the window. Oh, it breaks through the window the first time and takes Linda. Linda. Why do I keep calling her Annie? Is she Annie or Linda? Oh, Annie is the girlfriend of the man. You guys, I'm just some fucking idiot. You know,
this is why I put the cast at the end last time.
Okay, you're so good. I'm so bad.
We always have this problem. That was the first time I did it. Was last time, and it was useful. I think we need to do that.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna look it up real quick just to make sure.
Okay.
So let's see. Yeah, I'm right. It's Linda. Annie is another girl in this movie. So Linda, gets taken. And then it's just into the action. Now we start this first half of the movie where Ash is basically fighting this kind of unseen evil, or it's infecting him. And, before this evil gets to them, they're dancing, and then the evil takes Linda, and she's off. You see her dead, dancing around, like cavorting around in the woods in stop motion or in claymation.
Well, wait, he kills her first. Like he's led out to the woods. She instantly tries to attack him. He cuts off her head with a shovel.
Immediately.
No hesitation whatsoever.
She's like, fuck this bitch.
Buries her under some gravel and carries on.
It's an interesting move.
And you'd think
it's an interesting first move, right? You got a girlfriend, maybe she's a little friskier than most of your other girlfriends. She jumps on you in the woods, and your knee-jerk reaction is just lop her head off. Bitch came at me. What do you want me to do?
Yeah.
I had to kill her in the most grotesque way possible.
And then, later she reappears, undead and
dancing around,
her head was rolling around, doing crazy stop motion things.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
And so now we start this kind of half-hour long thing of Ash being chased by this. It's an unseen evil, right? It's the camera.
Yeah.
Is the evil.
But it possesses people and turns them into monsters, basically.
Yeah, into the Deadites. But Ash can kind of fight it.
It's kind of weird because
he turns into evil Ash at some point.
Yeah, he caught it, and then the sun shines on him, and I guess it doesn't like sun. So
COVID-19.
COVID-19.
You really
COVID-19.
Yeah,
I blow. The wind of God.
The wind of God.
No, so the sun comes out and shines away the COVID-19, and then later he gets bitten on the hand, and just his hand is possessed.
Yeah.
Which is
great. That's the best part of the movie. That's the best part of this movie.
Yeah, that is the best part of the movie, when it's just Ash with his hand.
And his hand is making sounds at him, and it's just him standing there. And wiggling his hand around.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I gotta get away from my hand. And it's just smashing plates over his head, and it knocks him out.
Yeah.
And then it starts crawling towards a cleaver. And you're like, you know what it's going for. It wants to get off of him. But how would it accomplish that, Bryce? How would it cut itself off with a cleaver? Try. Can you? I can't.
Yeah.
I can't work the angle.
Yeah, I don't know.
I guess it would set up a deadfall trap. It would set up, bail the guillotine and then put itself in it.
Well, I don't think the laws of physics really apply to it, because later in the film, it stabs a woman in the back.
Yeah, where's the force coming from?
Yeah, how did it get off the ground?
It's a little 2-pound hand.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of like manipulation of time and space too. You said, the sun goes up, the sun goes down. It's very eerie. The bridge is out when he's like, I gotta get the fuck out of here. The bridge is out, and it looks like a big hand on both sides, kind of like just torn asunder, like something horrific has happened.
Yeah. So he cuts off his hand.
He cuts off his hand, and then cue the most iconic moment involving blood that I can think of. It's right up there with Nightmare on Elm Street, the getting sucked into the bed, and The Shining.
Right. With
the blood getting off the elevator on the... That's strange. It usually gets off on the second floor. Yeah, so the hand runs into a mouse, like a little hole in the wall that a mouse is sitting in, and then it's made evident to you via sound and the usage of the camera that it's running around in the walls. And Ash knows he's got to kill this thing because it's evil. It has left his body and it's running around, and he's got a shotgun and he starts shooting at the wall. Bang, bang. And out of one of the holes, a little dribble of blood. Just drip, drip, drip. And then more. And then more blood. And then like a hose worth of blood.
Like
and then a
geyser.
Fire hydrant of blood just blasting out of the wall at him. I remember the first time I saw this just being like laughing with my mouth as far, as far open as it could be. And just being like, this is insane. And then the blood turns black. And then it all reverses. It like sucks off of everything that it was on. Like there's tremendous amounts of black and red blood all over the place. And then it's just gone.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's great.
How do you get good at like this, like really pratfall sort of like physical humor? Like there are some people who are insanely good at it. Bruce Campbell's one of them. You got Jim Carrey, and then you got like Chevy Chase.
Yeah, I think first criteria is you have to be pretty athletic.
Yeah.
Like even like the fat guys that do pratfalls, like Chris Farley and Kevin James, like they're very good at like pratfall and physical comedy, but it's one of those things where like they were athletes, you know, in like high school and stuff. Like they are very, like Chris Farley, I've heard stories that like he's like really strong.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And like just really could do it. And you couldn't act that way if you're weak and you like couldn't brace yourself, because you'd literally like break your bones.
Yeah,
if
for sure.
That big. So I think the first prerequisite is you got to be very athletic.
Good one. And
control of your body. And then you have to like have no shame about how you look. You can't, you got to know like you are going full for it.
Yeah, send it every time. Like, and it has to look ridiculous. Yeah. Like there's an aspect of it that, and I don't feel like it gets enough love mainly because I never really understood it. You know, it was just, when I was growing up, it was just kind of a normal thing. You know, it's not part of acting now, really.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like one person in a generation gets to be the physical comedian.
Yeah.
Like, and it's so rarely done well that it is truly exceptional when you see someone that's like, that gets it.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I feel like Chris Pratt would be a good, I think he is pretty good at it.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of
I guess not.
physical comedy from him, but like, go back and watch like Seinfeld and Michael Richards, and it's
oh my God,
amazing how funny someone can be just with their body. That's
just wiggling around.
Yeah. Just like try to make someone laugh with just your body.
Yeah.
That is insane.
That's a pretty good point. Yeah. Michael Richards, man. Holy shit.
And yeah. Michael Richards, Jim Carrey, you know,
Chevy Chase.
Do you say Chevy Chase?
Chevy. Yeah.
You call him Chevy? Chevrolet Chase?
Yeah. Chevrolet Chase. Yeah. Chevy Blazer.
Yeah. So, yeah, it truly is interesting to watch. And I think it is underappreciated because you're like, oh, well, that's dumb. He just fell down.
He just fell down.
No, he fell down funny. That's something that most people cannot do.
Yeah, and
because it's about timing.
He kills that in this
control.
movie. Yeah, and I had heard people talk, you know, like at first I just took it for granted. I didn't understand the art of it all.
Went forward on one of the bullets. Bobby Joe gets the treatment. Hey, leave me alone. Is that rapeseed? I stole your thunder. I stole your thunder, but that's great.
Yeah. So the physical aspect of the acting that he does, I never really appreciated it, and then I heard people talk about it, and in the way that you just did, where it's like there's a real like respect for people who can really do it and send it. And the amount of abuse that their body actually takes is substantial. Like there's old Chevy is rumored to be basically in pain a lot. Yeah. You know, he has a lot of joint issues and back problems resulting from that.
And it just takes a lot of energy to pull it off.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, and think how many takes it must take to get that right. How many times do you have to fall down on the ground and have your hand bonk you over the head with a pretend plate? Sure, it's pretend, but it's still bonking you on the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to get it just right takes commitment. So let's see here. What's the next good point?
So the other people show up at the house. There's like...
Before they do, just one more thing. There's a scene in this movie that's so insane, and it comes right after the hand shoot, right after he shoots the hand, where the evil gets into all the whole house. Like it's like the house is possessed with this evil, and the deer that's mounted on the wall looks over at him and is like, and then he looks at the lamp and the lamp is and the whole house begins to, like, all the books are laughing and the whole house is just like,
and Ash starts getting into it.
And then he's like bouncing up and down with the lamp. I laugh every time. Every time I see that, I'm like, this is brilliant.
Yeah.
The amount of coordination, like they rigged there must have been so many fishing lines in that room. It was, I love that
Yeah,
scene.
that was a great scene.
So people show up at the house.
So who shows up at the house is the professor that was on the tape. His daughter
found some missing pages from the Necronomicon on her excursion off somewhere far away. And so she's headed to the cabin to show Dad her pages.
With her boyfriend, and then along the way, they see, the bridge is out! And there's a hillbilly guy that, I don't know what his job there was other than just to look at the bridge. He was driving a tow truck.
Yeah, he had to set up
he set
a little
up the barricade.
sign. Yeah, a little barricade.
In case you...
Don't miss the bridge out. I know you just don't want to keep driving past
the
this
bridge
point.
is basically some pylons pointed straight up.
Yeah. So
there's your car would run into it anyways.
Right.
You don't need a barricade. Anyways, he was there to set up a barricade, and they're like, "Hey, what's up with the bridge?" He's like, "Can't go."
Me and my girlfriend are here protecting you from the bridge that's out. And his girlfriend's Bobby Joe. This is the girl that I said was on One Life to Live.
So they all decide that Hillbilly's going to lead them over, on ground to
the cabin.
To the cabin. And so when they arrive, they see Ash there. And then the Evil Dead attacks, basically.
Right. Ash fires upon them as they knock at the door because, well, he thinks it's the Evil Dead. And it's not. And then, so they get off on the wrong foot. You could say they get off on the wrong foot. And then so they throw him into the basement. There's what? How many of them? Four of them. Yeah. Four of them, one of him, they overpower him. They throw him down in the basement. Unfortunately, that's where the hag that was the girl's mother, the wife of the man, the
Henrietta, I think.
Yeah, I think it's Henrietta. Her mother, or the mom, is now a host to a Kandarian demon. And so she's like this witch in the basement, right? And so Bruce is down there with her, and she becomes a the thing in the basement, basically,
right?
And so he gets out, they let him out, and they stomp on her head, you know, because they got her like the cellar door's open, but her head's stuck in it. It's like pincered in there, and they jump on it, and her eyeball pops out. And it flies across the room, whee, with this little root attached to it, and it goes into Bobby Joe's mouth. And the eyeball that pops into this, I like to think, okay, this is a thing. There are long periods of time in that actress's life, the actress who played Bobby Joe, that she doesn't remember or consider that she had to catch a fake eyeball in her mouth for one of the best horror movies ever made. You know, sometimes she just forgets about that for months at a time. You know, she doesn't even think. She's like, hey, remember that time I was in Evil Dead 2? Probably the crowning achievement of my career aside from, I don't know, like General Hospital or something like that. And I had to catch a fake eyeball in my mouth and like, ugh, and then throw it up. And she doesn't even think about that. And I think that's something that I like to think about, that she forgets about this moment in her life because it's so shocking. Anyway, she ends up getting the treatment, and she's like, hey, leave me alone, because there's trees outside trying to rape her. So when she runs away into the woods, the trees get a little rapey. In the first movie, it's much more disturbing than in this movie.
This is more of like a aggressive embrace and then sucking her into a tree. Right. Than it is like a straight up rape.
Yes. And so we get a little bit more backstory here. In 1300 AD, there's a picture of they're like reading the book, right? And there's like a picture in the book, and it's basically of Ash. And but he's in 1300 AD, and they're like, "Who's that goofball?" And they're like,
"Who's that one-handed man?
Who's that one-handed man?" He was prophesied to have destroyed the evil, and was called the hero from the sky. At this point, he turns evil. There's just a bunch of wild violence.
Evil Ash is great.
Yes.
That's a great monster.
Yeah.
Throughout. And it's the same thing. Like Bruce Campbell's facial skills are a great asset throughout everything.
Yeah. And at this point, he kind of fends off evil Ash somehow. And then
he's reminded, he finds his girlfriend's necklace and he feels really guilty and fends off the evil.
That's right. And then Linda attacks him with the chainsaw. Headless.
With the axe.
Linda. No, she runs out of
that's right.
And he knocks it back into her neck, and she dances around in the shed, and it's great because there's blood everywhere. And that's how the shed gets covered in blood. Right. There's this badass scene where he knocks the chainsaw that she's running at him with back into, she's headless. So the stump of her neck gets a chainsaw embedded in it. Now she's running around. She's like a super hazard because she's still got a chainsaw at full rev, and blood goes everywhere in the cabin, and it covers up the light. And now all the light in the cabin is red. There's like badass metal scene after badass metal scene in this movie.
And then he fights off the infection, but the girl like still goes to attack him when he's normal Ash.
Yeah.
And he's like, I'm fine. I'm okay. And then like throws her off. Like it seems like it's okay. He like leans his back against the wall. And then it's one of those moments where it's like, breath of fresh air. And then all of a sudden a giant axe lands right next to his head.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like, how didn't he see that coming? Because he was looking.
Right.
He had his eyes open the whole time.
Yeah. It's so artificial, but so effective. And yeah, it just makes a real fun experience.
It's a real fun experience. Yeah. The thing that's interesting about, and it seems to be a calling card of Raimi's, which is the way he does tension is silence and then loudness.
Yeah.
Or like calmness and then chaos, you know? And it's in like Drag Me to Hell. By the way, if you guys haven't seen Drag Me to Hell,
yeah,
a little bit more serious than this with undertones of Evil Dead 2.
Yeah.
Like there are some serious Evil Dead 2 undertones in there.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. He's been appointed to do the next Doctor Strange movie.
The Marvel, the Doctor Strange for Marvel.
So supposedly it's going to be more horror themed, but I'm really curious about how those styles will mesh, because the last one was more like kind of psychedelic, like mindfuck effects, magic, and then they're gonna delve into like a darker, like scarier storyline.
That's interesting.
But yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, I love his work on Spider-Man, and Spider-Man 2. There's a couple scenes where it's like, this is full Raimi. Like when Doc Ock, they're trying to operate and remove the arms from his back. Mm-hmm. Like the arms get a mind of their own and start attacking, and that's like full on Evil Dead.
Oh
in
yeah,
that movie.
Yeah, straight up. And yeah, it's weird talking about Raimi because he has such a like he doesn't have he has not directed a tremendous amount of movies,
right?
But each one, like he's shown, he has a ton of range.
Yeah,
but also a unique style.
Yeah.
And he was kind of those Spider-Man movies were kind of the first legit superhero movies, if I recall. Those were back in like 2003.
Yeah. I mean, the Spider-Man was the first since like the original Superman that actually pulled it off. Like a very good, well, I don't know. I mean, there was Batman.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I don't know. I mean, they've been around, but it's like in terms of like Marvel properties, that was the first one that really succeeded.
Yeah, and that was for Sony.
And really succeeded in like the premise where the special effects had to catch up with it, you know?
Yeah.
You can put Superman on a table in a green screen and just take out the table and he's flying.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but you can't have a dynamic person swinging through skyscrapers until CGI catches up.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was successful. And I think like people point to as the modern like superhero movie in terms of like what we see in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is probably the first X-Men, which I'd agree with.
Okay.
It's the first like it feels real. It feels real and not like
it doesn't feel like Arnold Schwarzenegger playing Dr. Freeze.
Right.
Everybody chill. Like this goofy cartoon version of a comic book.
Right.
It's real life.
And it's more it's like one step removed from the source material. Like Spider-Man was very much like we need to tell the story of Spider-Man as it is in the comics with a little tweaks. Like X-Men was like we get the feel and the tone of the characters and we'll introduce them and the premise this way.
That's a good point.
And it's like that was the first time they kind of unlocked that. I mean, that's even like that was before Batman Begins.
X-Men was?
In terms of like this is a superhero movie treated realistically in the real world kind of thing.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're off on a tangent.
Yeah, I mean,
but yeah, Sam Raimi's great. Like he's in lots of different movies, but everyone loves him for Evil Dead. Yeah,
everyone loves him for Evil Dead. I mean, no one who has seen Drag Me to Hell can say a bad word about it. I don't think you can have a.
I can't think of a better like full-on horror movie that's PG-13 than Drag Me to Hell.
It's so well done. It's just it's great. So at this point, Ash constructs the chainsaw hand, where he makes like a sheath for his stump to go into, and like he attaches the pull cord to his chest, and he's got this like it's like a support bra, and he
see, that's the great part about it, because there's no lead up to it at all. It's just
I'm going to the shed and building me a weapon.
Yeah. Just instantly he has like a whole rig.
Yeah.
With this chainsaw, and then like a holster for a double-barreled shotgun on his back.
Yeah, so once he has his chainsaw arm, he holds his shotgun and he cuts off the barrel so it's a sawed-off shotgun. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing more badass looking than a sawed-off shotgun. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, for people who aren't like big into guns, I'm not big into guns, but it's interesting to learn about gun modifications, because a sawed-off shotgun is just literally a sawed-off shotgun.
Yeah.
And it's just, It's just you take a shotgun, you saw off the barrel. Mm-hmm. That's it. That's all you need to do to get your own sawed-off shotgun. I think they're illegal.
I don't know.
I don't know either. But it's his boomstick. And
yeah, it's not. I don't think that's not even.
I don't think they say
film.
that in this film.
That's an Army of Darkness.
Yeah, that hits an Army of Darkness. So now we have the superhero Ash. You know, this guy who's got a chainsaw for a hand and a sawed-off shotgun in the other hand, and it's like if you see the poster for Army of Darkness, it's him standing there like a hero, but with a chainsaw for a hand and a shotgun, and the woman is at his, you know, it's like it's like a Conan the Barbarian or Star Wars movie poster where she's fawning up his thigh. You know, she's like, oh, this is Jesus Christ. And
why aren't there ever any women fawning up my thigh?
Right. I mean, I've seen one or two.
Yeah.
Fawn up your thigh, but it's not an everyday occurrence.
Yeah.
Which it would be nice, is all I'm saying.
Yeah. I'll have to talk to Erin about that.
She'd be the one, you know, that's her department.
That's her duty.
Yeah. I mean, or at least she gets the sign off. You get the sign off from her.
Right.
To make it okay.
Hire a prostitute to fawn up my thigh.
Right. Can I please just hire one prostitute to fawn up my thigh?
It's like, you just want to pose with a woman clinging to your... Yes.
Yes. Specifically that.
Yeah.
Me shirtless, too. With a chainsaw in my hands and a shotgun. Okay, this is getting really specific. I'm going to have to ask...
Okay.
Why?
We'll move on. So, yeah, then they go... The whole reason that they suit up Ash is that he needs to go down to the basement to get those pages that were thrown in there.
To put everything back to good.
And he has to confront the witch. He finds the pages, throw them up, and then the premise is there's two, sections of this incantation. One, if you read it, it'll make the evil dead come to flesh as a flesh apparition. As opposed to just like possessing someone, I guess. And then the second half is it'll open up a portal that you can
suck it away.
And so she reads the first one, of course,
Yeah.
and forgets about getting to the second one. So there's a big fight and a big battle, and Ash is fighting the witch, and then the big Evil Dead thing comes, and then she reads.
There's the tree attack is pretty badass. There's the woods become alive, possessed with the evil, and then this gigantic. It's like, you know what it's like? It's a throwback to King Kong coming in the window. With his hand.
Yeah.
And so this tree's face makes up the whole front door, and it's got these big gnashing teeth, and it's ready to eat Annie, who is the daughter of the archaeologist. And Ash plunges his chainsaw into its eye, and it's all this green goop comes out, and then he gets sucked into this portal with all the Evil Dead, with him, his car, his shotgun, and his chainsaw hand, and he lands in 1300 AD. He falls from the sky, and they're ready to. All these knights are around him, and they're ready to put him to death.
And then a big scary deadite pterodactyl, starts flying towards him.
Boom! He blows it out of the sky like a man might shoot a bird. Or a clay pigeon,
sure,
but it's a deadite, and then he says, "Groovy,"
or
something.
No,
like that.
He says "groovy" when he suits up.
That's right. He says "groovy" when he suits up. Yeah,
which is a non sequitur, but it's iconic.
It's iconic. Yeah.
When
I told Dustin we would be reviewing Evil Dead 2, immediately he just said "groovy" on Facebook. It was great.
Okay, so can we wrap this part up?
Yeah. Who would you recommend watch this movie?
I mean, everyone should see this one.
Everyone.
Even people that don't like horror movies should see this movie just because it's a cult classic. I don't even think it's a cult classic.
It's just a classic. Yeah, this is. And this is one of another thing is this is one of those icon, like if you grew up with renting videotapes from the video store, you walked past this and saw it and went, oh shit, what's that? That looks creepy as hell.
Yeah.
This is an iconic cover.
Yeah.
For I'll agree. Everybody should go see this.
I mean,
one.
my wife liked it, so Ross, you'll like it too.
Yeah, you'll like it too, Ross. Don't worry, buddy. It'll be okay. So with that, let's get into It Came from Social Media.
Yes, it came
From social media.
to fill the world with terror, to bring you unforgettable suspense. What was it? Where did it come from? Who were the all-powerful creatures it brought?
From social media.
And what did they want on Earth?
So It Came from Social Media is a bit where we read things that happen to us over all of our social media platforms for the last week. This last week, we had a comment on we do post every podcast to YouTube. So we do have followers on YouTube, and this comment came in on our Wicker Man review. And it was from Kel Briggan, and he or she. Kel is a relatively ambiguous name, so I don't want to get it wrong. We're renowned for getting it wrong. Says, spoiler alert, some notes about this movie in no particular order. The music is primarily lyrics from Robert Burns with 70s pseudo-folk stylings by Paul Giovanni. I took this to be about showing the roots of paganism that still exist in Western Europe. It's in the dirt/blood. Hey, at least it's not as bad as Donovan's stuff in the English dubbed version of Brother Sun, Sister Moon. So the Wicker Man sticks with me.
Yeah.
It's like I'll watch the movie again.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like I went through so many different emotions watching that movie, of like being really angry that I had to watch this movie to being like blown away at the end. He also said, or he or she also says, the song sung at the end is from, at least, the Middle Ages, just as Ring Around the Rosie is about smallpox, Summer is Incumin In is about the screams of the sacrifices. Sing cuckoo. If you can make out the lyrics in that scene, it's kind of hard to do because they were battling wind. It's even extra special creepy. And then he or she provides a video. Thank you so much, Kel, for it goes on. If you guys should check out that video, because this comment goes on and on and on, and there's lots of interesting mentions. One more thing about it. Summer Isle, which is on Summer Isle, witchcraft was illegal in England up through 1951. I suspect the movie's a different experience for people who've been raised in a state religion than it is for like England, than it is for Americans and our tradition of freedom of religion. This gives a bit of significance to Howie coming to the island with the power of a king. Yeah. Yeah. So just a lot of interesting tidbits that Kel brought to us. Thank you, Kel. And then, thank you to all of our patrons who have been reaching out to Bryce. Bryce's family has been going through a bit of a whirlwind of misfortune. His father is very ill, and so he thanked them because they've had. We talk about this a lot more on the Afterpod, and all of our patrons reached out to you and said they hope you're doing okay, and they offered kind words. Bryce said, you all are very generous with your emotional support and your empathetic support of Horror Movie Talk. Love, Bryce. And I said, you're all like the training bra for our emotions. Wayne Gretzky / David Day. We both said that. Mm-hmm. Let's see here.
Then we had some good poop talk.
Yeah, good poop talk on Patreon.
Ross said, Ross said, I'm hoping for that elusive ghost poop. You know, the one where you've pooped, but when you wipe, nothing.
Yeah, and Jason responded to that saying, guess that's better than the Sharpie marker poop, where you wipe like 20 fucking times and there's still shit. And then Ross responds to that, and that is the reason I started using Metamucil. The forever wiping was giving me a sore ass.
Yeah, this was all instigated because I was talking about being constipated.
Yeah.
Wouldn't be the first time we talk about constipation.
Hot poop talk has been a staple on Horror Movie Talk.
Yeah,
It's
and
going back.
The Afterpod, especially.
Metamucil, if you're in your mid-30s and you're confused about what's happening to your tum-tum or your bowels or your butt, just take some Metamucil, man. It's one of those things that, you know, it's for you now. Jason sent us this thing on
It was on
Twitter of Family Guy, where Chris keeps saying boobies in the back, boobies, and then they flash him with the Men in Black little wand
memory wiper
to get him to stop saying boobies. He said that's me.
Yeah,
you gotta flash me with the Men in Black deal to get me to stop talking about boobies when there's boobies in them. There was no boobies in Evil Dead 2.
No, unfortunate.
Not one single tit. So with that, thank you all for reaching out to us on social media. I'm sorry I couldn't get to all of you, but I definitely respond to everything I see, and so does Bryce on social media. So if you got something you want to talk about, if you're having a tough time in these times, reach out to us. Let us know how you're doing and how we can help. And we love you very much. And
we may be separate, because of situations, but
we may be far apart.
We're in this together.
But we're in this together. We're close together in our hearts. Horror Movie Talk cares about you.
Buy our shit.
Buy our shit now. Yeah, you guys. But seriously, I really hope that everybody is doing well out there, and we love you very much. And stay tuned for next week when we will have another light and breezy talk about horror movies here on Horror Movie Talk.
Thank you so much. Check out our website and support your local theater. Go buy some gift certificates at your local theater that shut down.
Do that.
And thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.
We can't stop here. This is bad country.
We're in this together.
Wait.
We should record it opening and we know it's... I'll record.
We're in this together.
We know it's hard being separate, but really, we're in this together.
We're in this together. Horror Movie Talk.
Apart, but together.
Divided, but together.
But not divided.
That's good. I'm glad we have some of that. I can cut that out.
Yeah,
okay. Divided,
but together. Being separate, but together. We know it's... I'll record. But together.
Divided.
But really...
Horror Movie Talk.
We know it's hard, but not divided.